I used to love to party, believe it or not. I used to love the club, and I couldn't go a weekend without partying. Like, okay, at least 2 weekends. I couldn't go at least 2 weekends without partying. And I went from being a shy guy, wanting to stay home and play video games, to being out to the next party. And it's crazy how the switch happened. And this happened towards the end of high school. I would say, matric year, towards the end when I was 17. That's when I went to my first party, underage drinking, whatnot. And that's when I was hooked. And this lifestyle really isn't good, especially if you're trying to glorify God and you're trying to be a proper Christian, so we say. You shouldn't be attending parties. That's just the truth of the matter. You shouldn't be attending parties, because with the clubbing and the nightlife, especially if you're a dude, you're only basically there for one reason. That's to get with a girl. And the excuse I used to give myself, because I was a Christian at the time, I was saved at 16, but the excuse I used to give myself, I was like, no, I'm a musician, I'm Shorty X, I'm there to promote myself, I'm there to get gigs. And yeah, for a time period I did get a couple of gigs, and I did have a couple of promoting jobs, but at the end of the day, I was promoting all these clubs, but at the end of the root of it, I was promoting sin, because in those clubs there would be fornication, there would be adulteries, there would be drunkenness, there would be blasphemy, there would be so much stuff that would went on. There would be violence, because bar fights break out literally every time you're at a club, depending on the club you're at, obviously, but it just wasn't, what God would want for me. And anyone who is a Christian in parties, please remember this verse before you go out and party. It's from Hebrews 11, verse 25, and it says this. He who chose to be mistreated along with the people of God, rather than to enjoy the fleeting of sin. So you'd rather spend time with the people of God than enjoying the pleasures of sin. Because remember, sin's only pleasurable for a season. And I remember even thinking to myself, I was like, as much as I love being a musician and love like entertaining people and like rapping and all that, is this really going to be my life where, I tell people I'm a musician so I can get credit, so I can get some money, and I tell people this and that, and I'm hooking up with the next girl every 2 seconds? Is that really going to be my life? I grew tired of it, and the more I was reading my Bible, the more I grew in my relationship with God, the more God was like telling me, cut this thing out, cut it out. Because even if you're not drinking there, the atmosphere in itself is satanic. People are dressed promiscuously, people are they're just not themselves, because when you're drunk, you're not yourself, and you make mistakes there. And also another thing is that if you're stuck in the sin, remember, it is a low-key repetitive sin, because it will cause you to sin one way or another. And if you're stuck in the sin, I implore you, find a better hobby on the weekend. Find something better. A lot of people, they take up hiking, they take up camping, they take up, what else do they take up? They take up different stuff. Like, they take up stuff like fishing, like stuff that takes you away from this. And do extra work even if you feel like you don't want another hobby. Well, my hobby that I chose, I just sleep. Personally, I just sleep and spend time for the Lord and do work. That's my hobby. But obviously, find more engaging stuff to do. Train more. There's other stuff to do instead of partying. And find another group of friends, because bad company ruins good morals. You can be the best Christian you can be, but if the crowd around you don't believe in God, or believe in God but don't act like it, it's going to hinder your relationship with God, and you'll see yourself fall astray. And you don't want to be caught lacking on the day of judgment. No one does want to be caught lacking, because that day will come where God will say to people who said that they believe in Him, they don't even know them because of their actions. As Jesus even says that you'll know them by their fruits. And if your fruits are hooking up a woman, clubbing every weekend, and getting drunk every weekend, that's not a good representation of a Christian. Remember, us as Christians are an example as Christ. People don't care to read the Bible. People only care about reading the Bible when they see that it's changed your life. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Hope this video touched you in some way, me sharing my story of how basically I just quit through the Word of God, finding a different hobby with the sleeping and training as hard as I can and getting more into business and doing this YouTube channel, obviously. So just find different hobbies and get out of this repetitive sin, and trust me, God will bless you one way or another. Your life won't be boring. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel.